Okay, so we finished up talking about the terzarima, the structure of this poem. It's not your traditional Shakespearean sonnet format. Um, it perhaps documents Frost's own um, descent into his own personal hell, his descent into depression, his how he coped with sadness and the many tragedies that marred his life. Um, the poem is highly personal, and I think we can gather that straight away. Look how many times the stanzas or the lines start with I. 7 out of the 14 lines start with I have been, I have walked, I have outwalked, I have looked down, I have passed, I have stood still, I have been one acquainted with the night. So it's highly personal. The rhythm itself imitates the walking movement. And this isn't a brisk walk. This isn't a walk through the countryside. This is a very methodical, slow, heavy walk. And he's gone beyond the last sign of civilization. I have outwalked the furthest city light. The fact that he uses iambic pentameter means that it's the closest to natural speech. So it's the closest a poet can get to natural colloquialism, natural narrative, the use of iambic pentameter. So it underlines his melancholy mood and the shortness of the words. So the somber mood of overwhelming anxiety is shown with the long vowel sounds. Everything is very long, very slow, very rhythmic. So it highlights the weariness of the poet, highlights how each step he takes is long and slow and weary, and he's worn down by the weight of the burdens that he's carrying. So the poem is set at night, which obviously adds to the doom and gloom of it. The listless mood is created by the repetition of I have, I have, I have, I have. So the repetition, again, we have this rhythm of the really slow, sloping steps. So he's so caught up in his own thoughts. He's dropped his eyes as he passed by the watchman, so the policeman on his beat, unwilling to explain. So he doesn't even want to engage in conversation. He's so lost in his own thoughts. In the third stanza, there's the mention of the interrupted cry came over houses from another street, and the idea of being in the city, being just another individual. There's no sense of camaraderie or a coming together. A person is just footsteps, a beat, a cry. They're just they're reduced to that state. They don't actually have that same I suppose recognition that they would have if people took the time to get to know each other. So the sense of just being another person nobody cares about, there's no real substance there. In the fourth stanza, he talks about the luminary clock against the sky, and I think we can safely assume that he's talking about the moon there and how he's using the moon to, I suppose, light his way. In Plath, we talked about how she was tormented by the moon in Elm, and how she was, her radiance scathes me. And I was reminded of that line when I looked at this poem again by Frost, the luminary clock against the sky, and how the passing of time and the night torments Frost as well, and that he's forced to outwalk the furthest city light.